Alright, let's start with number 1 here. So we have 3x minus 1, and we have to run it through that formula over there. And so we'll go 3, and then it'd be x plus delta x minus 1 minus, and then let's see, it'd be 3x minus 1 all over delta x. Like that. So distributing the 3, we should get 3x plus 3 delta x minus 1, and then minus 3x plus 1 all over delta x. Okay, 3x's cancel, 1's cancel, so after 3x, delta x over delta x, cancel that, so your answer should just be 3. Alright, now this one's going to get a little tricky to show in here, but I'm going to try it. So if we have that, let's see, when we'll have delta x plus delta x squared plus 1, and then minus x squared plus 1 all over delta x. Okay, I'll multiply that all out. X plus delta x squared should be x squared plus 2x delta x plus delta x, or yeah, plus 2x delta x plus delta x squared. Then plus 1 minus x squared minus 1. Okay, that cancels that. That cancels that. So I'm left with 2x delta x plus delta x squared all over delta x. Oops. Okay, factor out delta x. So then I have 2x plus delta x all over delta x. Delta x is canceled. So you're left with 2x plus delta x. But remember, we're finding the limit as delta x sorry, too far over, 2 delta x equals 0, so that means that goes away, so you're just 2x. Okay, and let's go down here. Alright, now, I don't need to do the long process, we can just do the power rule. So, the derivative of this whole thing should just be, let's see, 2x cubed is 6x squared minus 1 plus 3, so it should be 6x squared plus 2. This one here, okay, derivative of 5 is 0 plus cosine of x, so just cosine of x. Alright, jump into the second page here. Okay, now this one, let me rewrite this as 2/3 times x to the negative second. Just bring that power up. Okay, now move the power out in front. So now you have negative 4/3 x minus 3, or x to the negative third. Okay, remember the negative 2 multiplied by the 2/3, so you get negative 4/3. Now move the power back down, and so you have negative 4 over 3 x to the third. Okay. Alright, let's move down here a little bit. Let's go to this one. Okay, let me be careful here. So we have 3x squared minus 3 plus 8x to the negative fifth. Okay, I don't really know if I want to, I'm not really going to go too wild here with rewriting this. If you want to find a common denominator, I guess you can, but I'm just going to leave it like this. Okay, that's good enough to just do something like that. Okay, let's go down here to number 7. Change that to a power, so we have 4x to the 1/2 plus 3 cosine of x. Alright, derivative of that is 2x to the negative 1/2, sorry, it's a negative sign, and then minus 3 sine of x, like that, and just fix that power. So let's say we have 2 over the square root of x minus 3 Okay, not going to go too wild with again trying to fix that. Let's go to the last two here. Okay, find the slope. Alright, so to find slope, we need to make the slope formula. So its derivative is 4x to the third minus, that's a third power there, sorry. Third. And then 6x. And then plus 0. Okay, now plug a 1 in for everything, so it would be 4 times 1 to the third minus 6 times 1. So it's just 4 minus 6, which is negative 2. Alright, now if we jump down here to number 9. Alright, it says that's our position function for a falling equation. A ball is thrown straight down from the building that's 220 feet tall. Okay, so that'll be my S of 0, and this will be my V sub 0. What is the velocity after 3 seconds? Alright, so we'll go negative 16 t squared plus negative 22t plus 220, and now I'll find the derivative of that, which is negative 32t minus 22. And we'll plug in a 3 there. Negative 32 times 3 minus 22, which gives me negative 118. Okay. Alright, so let's do number 10. Now this does take a quotient rule. So this would be, bring the denominator up, x squared minus 1 times the derivative at the top, which is 3x squared plus 3x minus, and then we'll say x cubed plus 3x, or yeah, 3x, alright, there's no x there, my bad. Sorry, let's get rid of that. Plus 2, and then times the denominator, which is 2x all over x squared minus 1 squared. Okay, now let's multiply out the top. Okay, x squared times 3x squared should be 3x to the 4th. Okay, let's see, we have an 3x squared minus 3x squared. I'll just have it all out. Minus 3x squared plus 3x squared minus 3. And we've got minus 2x to the 4th minus 6x squared minus 4x, right? Okay. These two are going to cancel each other, right? And let's see. And then this will cancel some of that, so I'm still left with x to the 4th. I still have a minus 6x squared minus 4x minus 3 all over x squared minus 1 squared. Okay? And let's go down here. Now this is a product rule, so I'll leave the first t squared times the sine of t, which is cosine t is its derivative, plus sine t times 2t. So now the derivative, let's just clean this up a little bit. And I suppose if you wanted to, you could factor out a power of t, but I'm just going to leave it. Alright, so it's 2t sine t. And let's keep going down here. Alright, 3x secant x, that's again as a product rule, so we'll leave the first, so it's 3x. And then it's derivative of secant x is secant x tangent x. Plus, alright, so derivative of 3x is 3 secant x then. And again, if you wanted to, you could factor out a 3x secant x. But I'm just going to leave it because I don't have a lot of space here. Number 13, okay, I have two product rules. We'll do the first one, so it's the x squared cosine of x plus 2x sine x plus 2x, and that's supposed to be cosine, that's not cosec, or that's not cos x, it should be negative sine x then, plus 2 cosine x, right? Okay. Alright, now that is going to cancel that, so my answer should just be x squared cosine x plus 2 cosine x. That actually cleans up pretty nice. Alright, find a tangent line again. Okay, so this is a quotient rule. So we have x times the derivative of secant, which is secant x tangent x minus secant x times 1 all over x squared. Okay, now plug pi in everywhere. Say, now that's a pi, that's pi, that's pi, that's pi, and now that's pi squared in the denominator. Okay, so let's think about this. Secant is related to cosine, so that would mean I have 1 over cosine of pi times tangent of pi. Well, tangent is sine of pi over sine or cosine pi. Okay, so cosine of pi. Well, at pi, cosine is negative 1. Okay, so that means this is a negative 1 right here. Tangent of pi. Okay, well, sine is 0. Cosine is still negative 1, so that means this is 0. So it means this whole thing goes away because you're timesing everything by 0, so it doesn't matter. Okay, secant x, this is negative 1. And so there's a negative sign there. And so that makes that a positive 1 all over pi squared. Alright, now we jump to the second part of this. So these will involve some more chain rule stuff. So chain rule on this one should be 4, and then it's leave the inside, 3x squared plus 1 to the third times 6x. So multiply that on front to, or 24x times 3x squared plus 1. Alright, let's move it on down. Okay, now to do this one, let's bring that to the top. So you have negative 4 times t plus 2 squared. Okay, this again does not require a product rule because this is just a number. So I can just leave that out in front. So it's negative 4 times 2, which is negative 8 t plus 2 to the first, and then times the derivative of, which can be not first, negative that's negative 2, sorry, negative 2, so that means this is a negative 3, times the derivative of t plus 2, which is 1. Alright, and then you have negative 8 over t plus 2 to the third back at the denominator. Okay, let's go ahead and do this one. Let's go move the power in front. So we have, whoops, forgot. Let's go 6x. No, excuse me. Sorry, that's not even close. Let's just write that off. Let's say 6 times x plus 2 to the first times the derivative of the inside, which is 1. And now this one here, I'm just going to choose to distribute that negative 5 through and do the derivative at the same time. So if the first one is negative 15x, that means its derivative is just negative 15. And then I have the derivative, to find the derivative of negative 30, which is minus 0. So that doesn't count. Okay, then this here, let's just distribute this out, 6x plus 12 minus 15. So you have 6x minus 3. Alright, now let's go down here and let's rewrite this as x squared times 9 minus x squared to the 1/2 power. So it's 1/2. Okay, so we'll go ahead and start over here. And let's see, leave the first, so it's x squared times 1/2 9 minus x squared to the negative 1/2 power, and then times negative 2x plus derivative of x squared is 2x times 9 minus x squared to the 1/2 power. Okay, this half cancels that and makes that a negative x cubed times 9 minus x squared to the negative 1/2 power plus 2x 9 minus x squared to the 1/2 power. Okay, now I'm going to factor out a negative 1/2 power, so if I factor out 9 minus x squared to the negative 1/2, what's left from the first thing is just minus x cubed plus 2x times 9 minus x squared. Okay, so if that whole thing goes to the bottom, so then let's see, the whole top now is going to be negative x cubed plus 18x minus 2x to the third all over 9 minus x squared to the 1/2, and combining the top, I could say that it is negative 3x to the third plus 18x all over 9 minus x squared to the 1/2 power. Alright, so number 19, we'll say that it is, the derivative of this is 3, and then tangent's derivative is secant of 4x times the derivative of the angle, which is 4, so we should get 12 secant, secant squared 4x. Okay, there's my answer. Alright, then we jump down here to this one. Okay, the derivative of 3x is just 3 minus 5, and then the derivative of cosine is negative sine of pi x squared, and then we'll go the derivative of that. Okay, well, I'm just going to distribute and say that this is just pi squared x squared. So now I can think of its derivative as just 2 pi squared x, and put that out in front. So now I have 3 minus 10 pi squared x, and there's a negative sign there, so that makes that a plus, and then sine pi x squared. Okay. Alright, the second derivative parts. Alright. Okay, so I'm going to find the first derivative, which is 6, and then x squared minus 1 to the second times the derivative of the inside, which is 2x, and then move that out in front. So I say that it is just 12x, and then it's x squared minus 1 squared. Okay, find the derivative of that now. So the second derivative is a product rule. 12x, and then find the derivative of this, which is 2, and then it's x squared minus 1 to the first times 2x plus the derivative of 12x is 12, and then it's just x squared minus 1 squared. Okay, all this multiplies here. I'm not really going to worry about it all. 2x, 2 is 4x, times that is 48x squared times x squared minus 1 plus 12x, or 12 times x squared minus 1 squared. I'm not going to worry about that so much. I'm probably just going to leave it like that for now. I'm running out of space, but you could multiply more stuff out, but it doesn't really matter. Down here, okay, you're going to do the same stuff, but we're just going to apply it now. I'm not going to clean this up very much. Okay, so first derivative is 3 times t squared minus 1 to the second times 2t. So that gives me 6t times t squared minus 1 squared. Okay, now for acceleration is the second derivative of the position function, so I do have to find the derivative again. Remember, velocity is first derivative, acceleration is second. So I'm going to go ahead and find the second derivative of this. So it's 6t, and then times, power goes in front, 2t squared minus 1 to the first times 2t plus, derivative of 6t is 6, and then times t squared minus 1 squared. Okay, now I guess for the sake of this I'll just plug it all in so there's less plugging in to do. Let's see, 2t, so that's 4t, that's 24t squared times t squared minus 1 plus 6 times t squared minus 1 squared. Okay, plug a 4 in for all the t's. Alright, so you get 24 times 4 times 2 squared is 4 minus 1 is 3 plus it should just be 6 times 3. Okay, and then all said and done we get 306. Alright, and now we go down here. Alright, these are implicit derivatives. Okay, so I'll just find dy over dx. Derivative of 3x, derivative of x cubed is 3x plus, or 3x squared plus 3y squared dy over dx equals 0. Subtract the 3x squared off, and then divide by 3y squared. We get dy over dx is equal to negative 3x squared over 3y squared. 3's cancel, so you have negative x squared over y squared is what dy over dx equals. Alright, so we go up here, let's see, that's going to be a product rule. So we'll leave the first, that's x cubed times 3y squared dy over dx plus 3x squared y cubed minus dy over dx equals 1. Okay. Well, let's factor out a dy over dx out of everything. Oh, wait a minute, let's subtract this off. 3x squared. This would be 3x squared. Y cubed needs to be subtracted off. Sorry, I wrote this way too big, so let's say that this is x cubed, and then, or excuse me, x cubed, 3x cubed y squared dy over dx minus dy over dx equals 1 minus 3x squared y cubed, factoring out the dy over dx's, and then you would get dy over dx times 3x cubed y squared minus 1 equals 1 minus 3x squared y cubed. Divide off, and you should get dy over dx equals 1 minus 3x squared y cubed all over 3x cubed y squared minus 1. Okay, and there's nothing you're going to do with that, so just leave it. Alright, so let's go here. Okay, cotangent. Cotangent should be negative cosecant squared y times the derivative of y, or times dy over dx equals derivative of x is 1 minus dy over dx, alright? Okay, so I'm going to choose to add this dy over dx over, so I'll get dy over dx minus cosecant squared y dy over dx equals 1, and factor out the dy over dx. So let's say dy over dx, and then it's 1 minus cosecant squared y equals 1, and divide that off, so we'll end up with 1 over 1 minus cosecant squared y, like that. Okay, and I don't remember if I did anything with that, but we'll just leave that because I'm out of space. Alright, getting closer here to the end. Okay, find the points at which this graph has a horizontal tangent line. Alright, well, I'll find the derivative of this, and it is 50x plus 32y dy over dx plus 200 minus 160 dy over dx plus 0 equals 0. Okay, subtract off the 200, so I'll just be left with 32y minus dy over dx minus 160 dy over dx equals negative 50x minus 200. Dividing this off, so dy over dx is equal to negative 50x, there's an x there, minus 200 all over 32y minus 160. Okay, set this equal to 0, so I set the top equal to 0. When is that 0? Well, when x equals negative 4. And I'm not going to bother finding the y coordinate, so we'll just leave it like that. Okay. Alright. This one here. Okay, sphere is being inflated at 500 cubic feet. Okay, cubic feet per minute. That tells me that is dv over dt is equal to 500. How fast is the radius? Okay, well, how fast is the radius of the balloon increasing? So that would be dr over dt is what I don't know. And it says when the radius is 30. Well, r is 30 then. Okay, so I'll keep plugging away. So let's find the derivative of this. Derivative of v is 1. dv over dt equals 4/3 pi, so it's just 4 pi r squared times dr over dt. Okay, well, 500 goes here, equals 4 times pi times 30 squared dr over dt. 30 squared is 900. 900 times 4 should be 3600 pi. And so we'll divide this all off over here and over here. So now those cancel, and so you should be left with 500 over 3600 pi equals dr over dt. And I suppose we could reduce that to just, let's say, okay, the zeros cancel, so it's 5 over 36 pi. Alright, now, last question here. Let's see, a plane is flying on a path that takes it directly over the observer. S is decreasing. Okay, so S is decreasing, so that means ds over dt is equal to negative 500. And it said when S is equal to 8. Alright, well, we'll have to plug that in a little bit here to do some other calculation, but I'm going to go ahead and write this out as Pythagorean's theorem and say that x squared plus 5 squared is equal to s squared. So the derivative of x would be 2x dx over dt plus 0 equals 2s ds over dt. Okay. Alright, now I need to go back and find what x is. So if s is 8, so now I have this formula, so we say x squared plus 5 squared equals 8 squared. So then we have x is going to equal 64 minus 25. We'll need the square root of that. So 64 minus 25. So we should get 39. And so the answer is just the square root of 39. Alright, so now we have 2 times the square root of 39 dx over dt, which is, I don't know, okay? I probably should have stated that before because I'm trying to find that. And then it's times 2. Let's see, s is 8, and then this is negative 500. Alright, I better put that in parentheses so we don't think we're subtracting that. Okay, now I'm going to divide this off. Whoops, forgot I don't have that selected. Divide this off over here and over here. So maybe that's a 2 times the square root of 39. Okay, those cancel. Alright, and so 8 times 500 is negative 4,000 over the square root of 39, like that. Alright, and then we'll use the trusty calculator here to go, let's see, negative 4,000 divided by the square root of 39. And I have a grand total of negative 640.5. And let's double check our units. Miles per hour. And we're done. There we go.